Unified welcomes you to the following presentation of the Midwest Esports Conference.
And look, they just were able to grab that kill.
Here's
Here we go, the package being delivered onto
What a
Cliffside. Absolutely decimated. Orion missed the shockwave as well. Castle has rejoined the fray all the way back from the base. It's a quadra kill. Will it be our first penta? It will be penta kill for Jinquall.
Buzz is looking for a pick. Levi does not get rooted down. Now is Ottawa's time to strike. Prod has his ultimate. Flux with the knockup. A lot of damage from Levi. He's trying to get targeted. Julian looking for the damage. Kai safely in the back, but Prod's looking to end that. Levi staying alive and firing away. It's all going the way of Ottawa with a double kill on the jungler. A double kill on the ADC. Tokyo drifting into the mid lane here.
Welcome to the MEC. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome on to the MEC. Thank you for that video to hype us on up. We're ready for a classic here, coming in between two teams that normally inside the MEC, they are always fighting each other for a position here inside of the regular season. They're always fighting for first, second. Today, they fight for third inside of it. A new age has approached, even though some things stay the same. My name's Travis C. I'm joined here with Mecca. Logan, are you ready for today's game?
I'm ready because I've gotten to watch Ottawa once today. I've gotten to watch Grandview a couple times this season, and it's going to be a banger. It's our last regular season match, and like what more could we have hoped for in Grandview versus Ottawa to clinch the 4 seed, right? It's a banger, man.
It really and truly is.
The 3 seed. Sorry, I can't speak.
It is for the 3 seed, but you can see here inside the standings how things turned out. Purdue taking on the 1st seed, Ohio Northern taking the 2nd seed. 3rd and 4th are the only ones that are undecided. Neither team can fall beneath those positions, and here we have a graphic showing there for everything that's going into the playoffs. I appreciate the emote, the emote for the Caitlyn down there in the back line. Got it. Appreciate you for that one there. But you can see how everything's created. The only spots left to be filled in is the 3rd and 4th seed. If Grandview win today, they take that 3rd seed, and they will end up finding themselves going into a rematch against Briarcliff. We took them into a 3-game series yesterday, while Ohio Northern and Cornell are on that side of the graphic. They're going to have their matchup. And then on the flip side, whoever gets 4th seed, whoever loses out today, they will be seeded to go against Drury. And they will have in their next matchup the winner of Purdue, Northwest, and Cleveland State if they're able to pick up the dub there. So very, very exciting matchup. I feel like both teams, I honestly would love to avoid getting that 4th seed just because even if you win against Drury, right, your projected next person, if you're looking at seeding, Purdue Northwest could possibly be waiting on your side of the bracket. Scary thing to think of.
I mean, either way, it's a scary place to get either the 3rd or the 4th, right? Neither Drury or Briarcliff are like any sort of slouch, right? And if you win that game, probability says you're going to face one of the top 2 seeds who have defeated you this whole season, right? Purdue Northwest and Ohio Northern are the 2 6-1 teams right now before we play this match. And it's going to be a hard fought battle through the playoffs, regardless of if you're the 3rd or the 4th.
Yeah, and you can tell as well, by the way, it is double elimination, so you have that was going for you as well. But let's go ahead and focus on up for the matchup that's coming here today. We've got GVU versus Ottawa Braves, a rivalry as old as time. We've got Strip Proctor, Castle, Jinquall, Nightstar, and Pluto playing for GVU. While on the other side, a little bit of a swap around has occurred for Ottawa Braves. They have Killian, Prod, Riversided, Levi, and Plutz playing.
Yeah, when we watched Ottawa Braves a week or 2 ago, we got to watch Riverside, and the team looked really, really good. And I'm excited to see Riverside here again in the starting role to make sure to kind of start their playoff push, right? No matter what comes of this match, it's a hard next match. Like, as I said before, Drury or Briarcliff, neither are slouches, so it's going to be difficult to play against either of them. I'm excited to see to see this match, right? Prod and Castle is one of the biggest looks for me, right? They're both really good junglers. I'm excited to see them play against each other.
If I had to give an award for the highest amount of growth, right, that has occurred over the course of the season, I would probably think of Prod in that position because they have absolutely grown quite a bit. And it's one of those things too where it's like I look over at this matchup. Castle has been somebody who has been a rock for GVU for the last bit. We've already talked about it. Castle, he's never the reason that his team loses. He's a very strong player inside of that jungle role. Good dude, all around. Prod is a young player coming in, 19 years old, fresh into this scene. They're an aspiring pro player, right? Like, Prod is out here trying to get their stones, and I like the fact they're getting their reps in, right? But they're also just like, every time they do a rep, they're like, all right, put some more weight on this. Let me see what else I can do, right? Like, they're never satisfied with just staying where they're at. They're always escalating things to the next step forward.
We haven't talked about the bot lane yet. It's a banger bot lane too. Like whatever we do in this draft, whatever this draft ends up being, it's gonna be a banger, right? So
yeah,
very excited to see where it goes. Castle played a lot of really good games last night. I think Castle and Jinqual is your first two looks for bans from Ottawa Braves. That's where you want to probably start with, but Nightstar also important to ban out. Like it's hard to, we said it last night, it's hard to ban against Grandview because they just have so many players who play so many champs.
Yeah, the big thing is there's a couple bans that you do have to throw on the table. Killian's Rumble has to be taken off the table. Yep. We've seen some people be a little bit frightened about Prod bringing out the Belveth, a champion that they've been known for inside the solo queue ladder. Mm-hmm. Also, contested pick inside the series is the Varus. Highly prioritized by both OU and GVU, where they have been putting first picks onto that champion.
It's a contested pick across the season, right? We said highest pick ban rate in the MEC.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it picked in 2 matches last night, which when did we think that was going to happen? I mean, it's been banned every single game.
And in the third one that it wasn't played in.
Exactly. So it's got really high pick ban rate. Expect to see it. The Volley Bear gets banned right there. That does. Strike Proctor played it last night, I believe. Or he played against it. Either way, it showed up. It's been showing up recently.
It's Polar Bear's been a menace to have to deal with, right? We got to see it yesterday from Frank, who brought it in, and we got to see that drain tank and how annoying that can be when Ohio Northern had to go against the Volibear. But it is interesting to take note. You can already see the Azir as well that's coming in here into the mid lane. You're taking that away from Riverside, and I actually put a lot of respect in this. And look at the focus into the top side of the matchup. Udyr, Volibear, Malphite. 3 tanks take it out. They said, you know what? We want to tear you apart, Strip Proctor. And honestly, Killian, they're Gnar and Kennen. Those are 2 champions that they're going to be able to lock in for themselves. Killian might be looking to push the aggression onto Strip Proctor. They got rid of the Gnar very wisely.
I think this Malphite ban may actually be a little bit more of a leading thing here in the top lane. Malphite really get into a lot of these like AD-centric comps, and Ashe will be the first pick, but I expect to see probably something a little more AD-centric come out because of that Malphite ban. Okay, they're baiting us. So we interviewed Castle last night, and Castle basically was like, hey, we're going to first pick Fiddle, and then we're going to play Nocturne, which did get picked, but that one kind of makes sense. He laid out this draft, and it's not going to happen, but I'm glad to see Castle following through on it. I
would love to see some Fiddle. Fiddle is a very slept on champion in competitive play, but I understand why he doesn't get the playtime that he gets. Orianna, though, it has been a stable pick. We have seen time and time again the ball delivery service alongside with Paranoia. It's the Orianna ult you never see coming.
It's the Orianna ult you never see coming, and it's really good against the Varus too, right? So the Ottawa Braves are going to be running this double Pile of Blades bot lane. That's a pretty good hover. You want to talk about what about this hover for a minute, because I think it's a little special.
If it actually does get locked in, Riverside Akali is a notorious pick for them. It's something that they're very confident in, and there it is. It is locked in. So we have Riverside on a signature champion, Akali, to start things off inside this series. And the last bastion up into the top side of the map, the Cassante. I was actually wondering they were just going to lock this in and just grab their bot lane for the last rotation. But it makes the most sense because if you don't Trip Proctor, you're losing Cassante in that second phase. So good to see.
Yeah, I mean, you can see all 3 bans so far have been pushed towards Strict Proctor. They want to make him a little unsafe, uncomfortable in the top lane. We did see him play Zac last night, which was fun. So I'm excited to see if
lost on that one.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, he did lose. Had some words about that game. That was a 43-minute long game against Briarcliff. A lot happened in that game, but I'm excited to see Strict Proctor. If this champ pool keeps getting dwindled as we go on game by game, to see how Strict Proctor deals with it. That's a Caitlyn locked in. Where's the Lux?
I mean, they have the option to just lock this in as their last rotation if they so choose, right? Like, is the golden rule to actually end up going for? This would be interesting if Killian ends up taking the Zac here, because I actually like the Zac into Cassante matchup just because of the fact you do so much percentage damage. But no, we are just going to have the Meat Fest, the Meat Mountain. Welcome to it. It's in the top lane, Cassante versus Sion.
I'm a big fan of a Sion here in the top lane because Cassante is going to try and kill you. He's the tank that wants to carry, and Sion's okay with that. Sion just wants to farm and sit there and go play in team fights. He's like Ornn in that respect, just a kind of different set of kit. Expect to see this Lux locked into the bot lane. Okay, Lux notorious, but Rel also a very good bot laner with the Caitlyn. Kind of works the same way, just a little more engaged, a couple more go buttons, which they kind of want Nocturne not being the only engage, so it works across the board.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense too, because if you think back to the series from last night, right, when Briarcliff had gone through, their plan was we never let Pluto have Rel, right? Yeah. Just yesterday, 24 hours ago, they showed that they said, you know what, Pluto, we don't want you on this champion. We saw some mixed results, right? They played Recon 3 games. 2 games they had a good one, but 1 game Pluto would rather you just forget about that game.
Yep. To be fair, I think most of GVU would hope you forgot about game 1.
The Rel's an interesting one, though, because of the fact that it does, when GVU has played their best, they have had this reliance on having a support who can engage the fights to go alongside with Castle, who can act as like a secondary follow-up. Strip Proctor can play at tank top, and then Jinqual and Nightstar are kind of free to play something that is very stable, team fighty, inside that mid-game, has a mid-game power spike. So it makes a lot of sense. This is standard GVU on one side, while on the other side, it's crazy. It's almost standard Ottawa Braves. The only thing we're missing is Killian on a Yordle, and we're right there at it.
Yeah. I do feel like the Ottawa Brave comp is just way more for a team fight here, right? It feels like they're going to play Sion front line, Lee Sin and Akali diving into the back line, and they're just going to use Sion to make sure that the AD and the support here can just continuously hit shots. It's a big front to back comp, and I think that Ottawa's really comfortable playing that kind of comp, so I'm excited to see them can start to execute on that once we get onto the Rift.
My question actually comes from the fact of how comfortable do they feel with Riverside? They, of course, Ottawa Braves is a team that I feel like has a pretty good camaraderie with each other. They don't like go out and do like an obscene amount of things with each other, but whenever you ask them about another player on their team, they're usually like, oh yeah, dude, we'll mess with each other, or they have like some trolly comms. There was the infamous fiasco where I've talked about it in last year, where they were like on top of the world when it came down to MEC, and they were arguing and picked champ select who was going to get Silas because they first picked it, and they were like, I want it, no, I want it, no, I want it. And it was a 5-man flet, so people were like aggravatingly like chasing after each other. I think the cool thing that comes out from all of this, really and truly, is the fact that we're seeing this comfort come out from both sides. They're playing their game plan. And they're even kind of letting Riverside, who's the substitute player coming in, played well for him, took them into top 16 in CeeLo in 2023. Now it's back and on the Akali.
A summoner has disconnected.
Okay, and Summoner's disconnected, which is...
That is a bug.
That's a bug I'm gonna get.
Yes,
I was saying that's probably a bug because I do see Orianna moving. I do see Jinqual moving into the mid lane.
If the disconnect happens at the very beginning, if a disconnect happens at the very beginning, it will still give you the disconnected error. It's an interesting thing that's going in there. But by the way, Gamba is open inside of Twitch chat, so you can go ahead and put down your vote on who you think is going to be able to take this one down. Remember, this is going to be a heated matchup. We're going into this game number 1 here between these two teams who have had a storied rivalry here inside the MEC. So go ahead, lay down your points. Let your points do the talking.
Big El Clasico moment. Strict Proctor has not changed his name since last night, and that's important to note because he started out as a lenient Proctor and got stricter as the series went on. Excited to see if he is yet again starting as a lenient Proctor, or if he's going to try and take this to Killian to start.
Does cost RP to make that strategy work. The nice little delayed invade actually coming in here to the bot side. I don't believe they actually know. Didn't look like they actually had vision on them coming in for this. So this is, for once, we have an invade that's just going to result in a buff take. I guess it will depend on what position they come in from. Check out this bot lane. They're just saying, hey, we are right here. They're not even trying to hide it. The full engage from Pluto, putting the Ignite onto Levi. Even trade amongst the two, but that is interesting. Pluto even dumped the Ignite in there.
There was a lot given up there to try and punish this aggression from them early game. I mean, in my head, they go through the river and they walk around to the side, but it doesn't look like there's going to be much of that.
That was scary. It flipped. The camera flipped away. Lee Sin was looking for a dive scenario in that instance. Heal was blown by Levi on the Varus, so they were actually going to try and force it, but because the Lee Sin came around the corner just right there at that bend, they knew, and they also knew that Lee Sin, of course, was starting there. So we are going to have that vertical jungling part happen here. That is really, really nicely done. I also want to highlight the fact that Nightstar opted for first strike Caitlyn.
Yeah, that kind of feels good to me, though, if you're going to play Caitlyn here. You can get a lot of poking, even against Varus, who has this really long range with his Q. You can still get a lot of poking done early that it kind of makes the first strike a little worth it.
Interesting for me. I've never done it myself, so I am excited to see how it turns out.
With the ultimate. That's the big thing.
Sure, I'm down for it. Whatever helps you out. Right now, Castle needs a little bit of help. Needs a hero at this moment in time. Lenient Proctor trying to be just that. They're a little bit on the in play, though, and they're going to have to offer themselves up as tribute. A sacrifice that they may have not have needed to have made. First blood going over to Prod on the Lee Sin.
There we go. That's where you wanted to start, right? The Lee Sin getting a little fitter. We saw Mike do it last night. It worked out really well that first game.
On to Levi as you see the Ashe has gone in the mid lane, is putting the pressure onto Jinquil. Another auto. They wanted that shuriken toss, forced the barrier out, would have fallen victim, but look at the way that this has been pushed out. Grandview says, all right, you want to send your support mid lane? All right, we're going to push you out of this bot lane. Beautifully done.
Just going to keep pushing. I think that's their goal here, is to just make sure that they can get through this bot lane. Once Varus, Ashe kind of get through this bot lane, it is a little hard against the Caitlyn. It'll be a little bit better, but right now it's an early lead for Nightstar with in terms of CS. They've been pushed out of lane really hard.
Yeah, you better as Caitlyn, right? Like that's the big thing. Your lane dominance because of your range is so big that you'll be able to apply, and we want to see if they can continue to bring that up. As the responses still come across, we're back to the meat mountain over into the top side of the map. Yet again, we have started off a series with somebody playing Lee Sin into Castle and getting first blood.
Big Lee Sin weekend for us. It's been a lot of Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Depends on your thoughts on Lee Sin, whether that's a good thing or not, but
if it's at the hands of somebody who's good at the champion, always a good sight to see.
Yeah,
Somebody who's really good at like those proactive, like early game junglers, right? Like they're not really like a scaler or anything like that. They love to actually like skirmish, get up in your face, right? They play that Vi very well. We talked about the Belveth earlier on and how they like to play that. The Lee Sin is another thing for Prod that we have seen them have great success on.
Yeah, I mean we saw 3 players play Lee Sin this weekend: Mike, Castle, and now Prod. They're all really good at Lee Sin, so I don't think there's complaints anywhere about too much Lee Sin this weekend.
Oh, I'm fine with it. I am here for it. Looking across the map, though, Void Grubs have been grabbed by Lee Sin, and as this occurs, Castle is going to commit the trade. see this all too often. The junglers just able to say, all right, you know what? I was on this side of the map. I get dragon, you get grubs. Let's shake on it.
It does seem that Levi just doesn't feel like he's doing a huge amount of damage early. Now, Varus is really good once you get a couple blight stacks on, but these piercing arrows just don't seem to be hitting the mark, and when they do, they're not doing that much to help push back this lane of Pluto and Nightstar. But Nightstar gets a lot of combos off like that. Doesn't really matter.
By the way, Castle got forced off a dragon because of the fact that they had Prio, so Levi and Plutz were able to move up. And this is that lethal tempo Varus. So it is that on-hit variant where you're just pewing away and you're going to be looking to pop those blight stacks as you were talking about. Not going for that lethality. So the fact that they have this and they're just kind of autoing down Pluto whenever Pluto gets into range. Pluto is feeling a little bit of the hurt. As you can see here, Killian in unfamiliar territory. Killian, how did you get over there, buddy? He's just trying to take Krugs. He's trying to proxy. Pluto down into the bot side. Beautiful engage onto Levi. Levi will fall victim. Plutz now has to run on back, and that's what happens. You're playing this double range bot lane. You find yourself in just a situation as Prod getting a beautiful flash out by Nightstar. Good stuff from Prod to be right in the right place.
It's a good thing that Prod gets that flash, because that is your only trade that you can get there. It kind of sucks from a Grandview perspective that Nightstar couldn't get that kill, that it did go over onto Pluto, but
Pluto's a hero.
Yeah, but
Pluto's
Nightstar
a hero.
Nightstar gets the back.
Yeah, no, Pluto's looking for a solo kill at that moment. The good thing they decided not to continue chasing, because Prod was just doing dragon at that time. Killian had to yell cowards as they run away from the topside fight. But that Headstack flash, they actually hit up Plutz with that. Didn't have vision at all either. Pluto.
It's this is a little bit of an aggressive bot lane here, and I'm here for it. I'm very here for it. I love people that know how to play Rel playing Rel. It's actually my least favorite bit of Rel being a jungle champion right now, is that so many people just didn't know how to play Rel to start with. But I love it when people that really know how to play Rel play Rel. One of my favorite plays is Core JJ doing the multi-man Rel engage when Rel was the old version, and it's one of those fun things to see with in conjunction with Lee Sin.
Well, something I like in conjunction is it's already a Dirk start on Caitlyn.
Yeah.
I actually very much so enjoy that. That's my preferred start on Caitlyn's at the current moment in time. I enjoy just doing that anytime I get put down into the bot lane. There is a small chance you'll see that happen, but now something else that's going to happen is Paranoia coming through. Beautifully organized, beautifully constructed, great kill coming in from Castle, and that's what you're looking at. As soon as you get level 6, where can I get a kill on the map? Looks like you can get one ASAP in the bot lane.
Not only can they get one really quick, they didn't have to give up much for it. They gave up Pluto's flash. Pluto is rocking the Hex flash, though. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. They're just making sure that they can keep going here.
Nightstar can actually just stay in here and just bully Levi as much as they want if they so choose, but they do need to be cautious just because Ashe is now back inside the lane. They're not level 6, so no Enchanted Crystal Arrow cleanse is available for Nightstar. So take a big note on that. That level difference is actually pretty huge because Nightstar is holding on to that cleanse. The longer they get to hold on to that, right, they are going to be able to be just fine if they get hit by one of those corrupted arrows, by one of those enchanted crystal arrows. They will have tools to be able to escape that terrible situation.
All right, let's see what happens here, because it looks like both these teams kind of want to fight. The way Plux and Pluto are positioning themselves, the way Riverside is coming up towards these void grubs, it does seem like Grandview's kind of itching for a fight a little bit. Castle's ult isn't up yet, but I'd assume the second Castle's ult comes up, they may just play it right there.
I am still a little bit surprised that they opted to ban out Malphite instead of the Cassante, just because we've seen so many games of Strip Proctor on this Cassante, right? They have died one time off of the fact that they tried to come around, but they're actually technically the same amount of gold, which is a little bit up actually in comparison to the Scion. So it's just like, this is a matchup we've seen Proctor not be uncomfortable on. So if the idea was to get rid of comfort, you would think that you would get rid of, more than likely, I had to double check the stat, but I'm pretty sure this is Proctor's most played champion.
I mean, it feels like most top laners most played champion at this point, except for maybe Oxy, right? It feels like most top laners love to play this champion. Lights go out.
Oh, lights go out, and back to the bot lane we go. This bot lane has no hope, no escape. Levi with their second death of the game.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a flub. Nightstar didn't manage to hit a shot there, and he pulled the ult up, but nothing came from it. So no assist there for Nightstar either. It's just a little inefficiency there to try and see if they can get this Caitlyn alive earlier and earlier. But Castle will take the kill. Pluto will take the kill. Castle will take the assist. This Rel at this point should just be itemizing into AP, right? Just start giving the Rel more damage.
I don't know about that. We had a discussion about that yesterday. You know, if you're more tankier, technically you do more damage, right? Like, if you just survive in the fight for longer, you get more hits in. It might not hit as hard, but, you know, I like it still just because the itemization that Nightstar is opting for is that lethality build. They're going more so for that early lethality spike that you love to see on Caitlyn. Fun fact, when they had changed lethality items, I believe it was back in 2022-2023 era, your ult could do like 2k damage to people with full lethality. They have since lowered that immensely, but it still hits like an absolute truck. So
Yeah.
those ace in the holes are actually going to just start becoming poking maneuvers that is going to be really, really painful to deal with.
Yeah, heavy poking maneuvers. Castle's itemization here with the experimental hex play is a little old. Let me try to explain this a little bit more. Since Stride Breaker is an item that was built on Nocturne for like the last 2 years, right? Ever since the Mythic system was introduced, Nocturne basically went, oh, Stride Breaker, you are my #1 item. Even though the game continuously recommends you to build lethality and like these assassin items, it doesn't matter as Flux gets hit for a huge amount of damage from Nightstar's ace in the hole. But nowadays, at the beginning of the season, right, Stride Breaker was in such a
Look at
great
that.
place. Oh my goodness, that's so much damage.
That's what I'm telling you, dude. The lethality, Caitlyn, people sleep on it. I told you it's something I prefer. It hits like a truck.
Hits like it, yeah, really. So, experimental hexplate was the item at the beginning of the season.
You're not going to be able to talk about that.
No, I'm not allowed to talk about this.
Nightstar just pops. You got the flawless execution into the backline Riverside and finding their target as the shutdown comes over. Killian finds the kill. It is an exchange. 2 for 1 at the current moment in time as a smooth execution finished things out in the backline. Rel and Caitlyn routed. But you can see Grandview, they want the prize. They want this dragon for themselves. Prod is a little low to be able to think about going in for that play. Backs are happening. Riverside coming around on the side to be looking for a possible moment to force them off. Proctor still just about at full HP. They got some sweet berries to be able to pluck, but check out the teleport into the backline of the fight. Pluto comes on in and is looking for a brief exchange to be able to connect onto Riverside. They're going to get chunked. They're going to be blown up. Proctor gets the kill onto Riverside as they go back into the bot side of the fight. Prod steals Dragon. The prize has been won, but it is Killian who's left as a sacrificial lamb. They had to pay 2 tributes to be able to steal away that dragon.
They had to pay 2 tributes, but they got 2 in return, right? They did kill Nightstar and Pluto all the way at the beginning of that fight a minute and a half ago. It's not worth as much as you'd think, right? We feel like this Caitlyn and Rel have been really, really good in this bot lane and really getting a lot of kills, but there wasn't a bounty on Caitlyn at all. In fact, Caitlyn, ahead of that fight, had next to nothing because she kept getting assists. She got her first kill in that fight, and the bounty was on Pluto, and wasn't going to be there for very long, regardless of how that fight went.
So big gold swing that was in favor of Grandview in regards to the end of that fight. They don't get the dragon, which is a little bit disappointing for them. Prod's actually been having a phenomenal game. They've gotten all the grubs. They've also gotten both of the dragons. So Castle has kind of been held at bay despite having a 1-0-3 performance. And they've been making all their plays towards that bot side. So the question does become, right, especially since it is that lethality variant of the Caitlyn, how do you move this bot laner in? It looks like they're just going to go ahead and call their shot down here into this mid lane matchup. Pluto gets blown up. A trade 1 for 1, but check out the shockwave. It hits on the prod. No hope. Their fate has been sealed. One last shot, and that brings them down. A double kill for this Caitlyn in the mid lane.
Okay, so, but what does it matter if the enemy team gets the grubs and gets all the dragons if Castle just keeps getting kills and good engages and making sure his team stays ahead, right? You can give up the first 2 dragons, that's fine. They got to get 4 to get the huge amount of worth through. It does look like it isn't. I believe it's an Infernal map. Seeing little dots all over the place.
Yes,
I believe
yes,
it was
it's
Infernal Cinders. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the Infernal map, right, it's a huge amount of damage. So Castle can just now say, hey, we need to start getting dragons now. And stack 4 Infernal Dragons. That's a lot of extra damage there.
Big thing. Getting the Rift Herald as well to follow up for Castle is a very, very huge thing for this team. They're feeling like they are in control of being able to start the fights. Ottawa Braves has not appreciated any time that the lights have been turned out. They really would appreciate if somebody would turn the lights back on. That ultimate is already back up in the next couple seconds. You can already see they could just easily rotate back over to that mid lane. Look at how dark it is in comparison in that top side. Grandview have complete control over the vision line inside the river in the top side. And even in the bot side, they have a decent line as well if they decide they want to move Jinqual, even though Jinqual's like, yeah, I'm kind of on my own island, chilling, vibing, you know, just the thing.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. As the game goes further and further, this mid lane becomes a lot better for Jinqual. He's able to get the ball into more and more team fights, and he's doing a lot of damage already. Cyrus Embrace is the first item completed, but you see that he's just going more and more towards AP items. That Needlessly Large Rod's going to be the next one. I wouldn't be surprised to see Luden's Companion or Shadow Flame come in through soon. It's all about making sure that once you hit a team fight, that the Shockwave and the ultimate can just go right on top.
Take a moment to look at where the gold lead is. It is purely inside this bot lane for Grandview, and they're looking to collapse onto him. Teleport's coming in from the bot side of the fight, while in the mid lane, they're looking to tussle as well. The stun connecting onto Prod. So unlucky. The Shockwave, as a result, onto Killian. Killian said, haha, that tickles, as they looked over and just went, walked it on off. And look, you were talking about the damage that can be laid out inside this fight, right? There's a lot of poke that can also be put on the Nightstar. And the bad thing about lethality, Caitlyn, is look at that mana bar. You at all times.
Yeah, you do a lot of your damage through abilities. You become a bit more of a caster. Castle's going in, though.
Oh, Paranoia absolutely bursted down the Varus. But the rest of the team was not in a position to be able to continue collapse. And Levi takes the wrong path. They walk downward. And that means that they are going to have their life forfeited in the exchange. Wrong place to be. The ace in the hole coming in. Killian's going to block up that shot. Riverside on the flank will pop around, throw a couple kunai knives onto Partner's back. But a bit of bad pathing there, uncharacteristic from Levi.
Yeah, the more and more I think about it, Jinqual really does need to start going towards a magic penetration item. This Hollow Radiance on Scion is going to be the death of Orianna trying to do any damage in the team fight. So we'll see them continue with that. Warden's Mail started for the Scion. It's normally an item we see against crit champs. It's not bad against the APs either. It'll be used into Frozen Heart, most likely.
Go ahead. Look over. A little bit of a tussle. Dragon is spawned into the area. This is Dragon's Soul Point. For Ottawa Braves, they're able to secure this. They only need one more dragon. And check this out. Killian got a little bit of a sweet tooth, apparently, as they are just eating up every single one of those cupcakes that have been left out in the bakery. Paranoia is going to come on in. That's the invisible Shockwave. You never saw it coming until it was too late. You can try to run away, but you're not going to get very far. Beautiful quad made happen by the hands of Grandview.
And it's just instant, right? Castle turns off the lights, goes in, and right on top of him, the ball from the Orianna, making sure that there's some damage behind Castle's insane go-in, right? He just needs one auto attack to get that swirl around. That's a lot of damage from Riverside, though.
Oh,
misses.
Misses its mark. Goes unstoppable. It's going to have that shuriken toss. Tries to run on in, finish off the low HP bars. Chased off 2 members. Trying to get some presence up here into the top side. Riverside been looking for those moments to get an execution off. Try and find that moment, but as you were just talking about, the coordinated play from Grandview with a composition such as this, where it is just you file in, you add the layers into the team fight, Magnet Pool, Shockwave, in with the Paranoia, Those three things alone are enough to be a devastating maneuver. In Grandview, they look like they're on top of their game when it comes down to their coordination.
It just looks like every second that Castle's ultimate is up, they're ulting it. Castle's ult just came up. Be ready. Watch for it to happen to see them pick someone off. There it is.
There's the paranoia. It is the paranoia, and that is a half HP. That was half of Levi's HP taken out by this full lethality Caitlyn. This is why I was telling you, this thing can be dangerous, right? You get the 3 items, you get even just the 2, and you're popping, you're chunking people with these ace in the holes.
And you can see how worried Strict Proctor is about the bot lane. Right, they have a combined 11 deaths at this point. First item was the Candy Krukern. Just goes right into the AP to start. He's not worried about the bot lane anymore just because of the way that they're playing. The Iceborne Gauntlet is just a really good item, regardless, to help with movement. We'll see how this Baron take
Look at that.
goes.
That's 2 hits on the Riverside. And Riverside is begging for mercy, but he will receive none. Nightstar continues to dominate on the Rift. They get themselves a double, and they're going to go right back. That Purple Worm demands their attention. Ottawa Braves, they cannot catch a break.
They can't catch a break at all. I mean, every time Ottawa Braves tries to make a proactive play to get something better for them, they lose. They lose in the play. And you can say, here we go, Castle yet again, paranoia.
They're right back on to Prod. Prod is gone. Pluto is getting trunked down fairly low. It's just the double AD carries trying to fight around inside of this, but they can't get that last auto. The Triumph gives just enough HP for the Orianna to get that HP right on back up. It is an unlucky scenario for the side of Ottawa Braves. They are just going to have to chop this one up, it feels like, as it's Grandview with a Baron and a 10k gold lead.
It feels like it's even more than 10k, right? I know it.
Okay, Jay.
Okay.
You got a little bit too cocky there.
little ego there. Like this gold lead feels menacing, right? It's like it's not that it's just 10k. It's 10k at a point where 10k is a lot, right? It's 25% ish of Grandview's total gold that they're up by over Ottawa. It's a huge amount of gold. It's an item on 3 players. Right, you can see just in the bot lane, look at the item discrepancies. There's 1.5-ish for Levi, as opposed to Caitlyn, who has 3.5 items.
I mean, this Caitlyn is bad beyond belief at this current moment in time. The ultimate is going to be on a reasonably low cooldown too, right? Like, they're just going to continuously keep proccing away at you. This lethality Caitlyn, I applaud Nightstar being prepped and ready to go with this build to be ready to be an answer to this double marksman lane, right? This is really good stuff, and you gotta really contribute that to Nightstar being prepared to be able to play a build on the Caitlyn that we haven't gotten to see inside of this season so far. It's always been crit when we've seen Caitlyn inside the MEC, so I'm very much so applaud Nightstar. Also giving me some validity for just being like, yes, I like to play lethality Caitlyn. Look, Nightstar does it too. It's patented.
He's patenting it now. All right, let's see. Castle's got the ultimate up. Ready for another go in?
Yeah, it's coming. It's about to happen here. Maybe not on the Killian, but whoever tries to come over here to try and help out Killian. Killian's over here. Remember I was talking about earlier, Mountain of Meat has decided I don't really have much of a sweet tooth anymore. Does not want to step into those cupcakes anymore. Is not a pleasant place to be inside of. As you can see, the pressure's just going to keep going on. They're going to keep this 1-4 push going. Not really much that Ottawa Braves can do about it, as their wave clear is actually incredibly limited.
Yeah, I mean, the Akali's not great at doing it. Varus is just so far behind that it's really hard for him to do it. Ashe doesn't have much in the tank to really do it here. Scion's your best wave clear right now, and Lee Sin obviously did not go Emax, because what sane person goes Emax Lee Sin in jungle? So you have Scion to clear waves, and that's about it. That's really hard to do when you're up against an Orianna who loves to clear the waves, a Caitlyn who's really good at clearing waves, and Asante, who's basically just as good as Scion.
The good news is that they do turtle inside their base. One of the big things is that will happen if you actually get a huge lead at 20 minutes. If you don't have a huge way to be able to shove down and siege, you can hold out and kind of turtle in these situations. They were able to manage a turtle stance, and that's great for them. And because of the fact they got the first 2 dragons, Grandview is actually in a position where they are in a position where they can't finish off the game quickly, but catching out Prod stepped onto the Rift. They got vision onto him. Paranoia easily comes through. Grandview. This is the problem with Ottawa Braves is you can still turtle inside your base. You can stop them from being able to just end the game as long as you stay inside their base. But
are you sure
they get
about
one
that?
member, and it's just going to continue to follow down. It's going to snowball out of control. But Pluto actually took a huge amount of damage that they weren't willing to take. Riverside had taken a huge chunk from Nightstar as a response on the back end of the fight. Here comes Proctor. The wall that refuses to crumble down for Grandview is there, and is not enough for Ottawa Braves. A 1-for-1, but Ottawa is going to say, you know what? We absolutely take that.
Yeah, you absolutely do take those. Just a little deep from Pluto. Not that it is my lord. Not in itself that it was a bad play. It's just he didn't have anyone with him to do the damage. There's tons of CC, just not enough damage.
Levi says over here, like, guys, let me lifesteal, please. It's not going to help you, buddy. Nightstar gets their eyes onto you, you're dead. If the Nocturne gets their eyes onto you, you're dead. It is a terrible situation to be inside of for Levi, who has been one of the most consistent AD carries inside of the league this time around, though. This new strategy, this way that Grandview is playing out this bot lane, working out exactly the way they wanted it to, and it is at the dismay of Levi.
It's getting a little closer, but I'm finding hard ways for Ottawa Braves to break this deficit. I mean, it's still a 10,000 gold deficit that they're on.
Yeah, but we have seen games inside the MEC you get lost at 10K. It has happened this season.
Seen that, yeah.
It has happened, so we do know that it's a rarity. It is a treat when it does happen. But Ottawa Braves, they said, you know what? There could still be something inside the tank. You can see the gold disparity across the lanes. Every single lane is chasing huge leads that have been accrued by Grandview, except for mid lane, where it's not even that much. It's just almost it's like right under. Yeah, it's just under a K.
Yeah, it's because of the farming that Riverside's been doing. He's keeping up with Jinqual. A lot of these kills from Jinqual, they're good, but Riverside's got some shutdowns on him, specifically one that was like 700 gold on Jinqual himself.
Hey, Nightstar stays alive. Castle coming in with the hero play. Nightstar needed one. Killian looking to be to their dismay. Nightstar, you need to get out of dodge. Pluto offered up on a silver platter. Said, you know what, King, get out of here. You did your duty. It must have been a terrifying time while this is all happening. Casante's in the mid lane. Strip Proctor is going ahead and conducting an examination of this mid lane tower. Found the interior a little faulty, knocked it on down.
Yeah, it's instant failure on that inspection.
Caitlyn is going to catch this wave over into the bot side. We'll show down there. It doesn't have teleport or anything like that, so they could possibly look at this as a possible moment for them to go. Baron is up. There's a huge one. Objective bounty is there, and Baron could be exactly what you need. A lot of those 10K fights that we were talking about, Mecca, they've been changed at the hands of Baron.
And it feels like as the game's gotten longer and the 10K has like continued on, it kind of feels like Grandview has had less extremely impactful fights after this point, right? They've been picking one or two people up, but they haven't had a front to back in a while. And it feels like every time Ottawa kind of go in the vicinity of a front to back with this Scion, it becomes a little harder for Grandview. Now, that could be totally wrong. We could watch a fight happen in 30 seconds here, and Grandview could absolutely slap Ottawa, and the whole front to back thing doesn't matter anymore. But
yeah,
keep your eyes out because composition does totally matter here.
There's
a goal deficit, but
yeah, Grandview needs a fight where it's not 1-to-1, right? They have had the last 3 fights have been 1-to-1 or 2-to-2 trades. They need to have a definitive fight where they can break open inside of this middle area. Now that the minion waves have pushed out, this could be their moment. They're going to call their shot now. Paranoia comes in to ace in the hole to be able to lay in the damage. The shockwave, the mana pull into the backline. It's absolutely pure, unadulterated destruction as the double kill comes out in favor of Jinqual. And everybody is just trying to scrape and claw their way back. The bot lane, this squishy double marksman bot lane is absolutely eviscerated. Prod on a possible flank here. No ultimates are available except for the
They're just
all-out
looking to end.
from Strip Proctor. They're going to look for a possible end here. Good bit of wave coming in as they will get the stun onto Killian. Last defense, Prod looking for a member to be able to get onto, but they were just CC'd for an eternity as they will fall victim. And the Scion passive will proc, will try and do what they can, but Killian's going to get trained around like it is just zombies. Easy as can be into the bat line. You see Riverside, it can't even find an execution. One kill that goes over to the Varus, but lights out yet again. They're just going to use the paranoia to just jump onto the Nexus. That is going to be GG. Grandview. What a convincing statement of a win that was.
Yeah, and you actually saw Ottawa try and adapt a little bit. We didn't mention it in game, but notice the Scion built a locket of the Ion Solari at the end to try and make sure his teammates could stay alive a little bit longer, right? To just give a little bit of shield, just that little extra bit to make sure that when Castle goes in with the ball, that you don't instantly die. And we saw in the last fight, they didn't instantly die. They just died 1 second after because of a Caitlyn Q. So I guess the adaptation was there. They definitely tried to get that. It just didn't go all the way through.
Yeah, it was a draft that was really just like, yo, we're going to turn off the lights and we're just going to hit you with a bunch of stuff, right? Like you have the Orianna Shockwave that you're never going to see coming. You're going to have the flank from Rel with the Magnet Storm, right? That Magnet Pool. You're going to have that come in. Never saw it coming. The Caitlyn lethality damage coming in. Never saw it coming. At this point in time, they might as well just play the opening theme from Persona 5, right? Because you're never going to see it coming, as they came in and they made it look so simple the way they thieved away that game number 1 so convincingly. A 10k lead at 20 minutes is huge. It took them a little bit of time to find that window of opportunity, but still got there.
Yeah, I mean, it took them a second to end, but they played it in a way that they didn't feel forced to try and end really quickly. They didn't feel the need of, hey, we have to end now, we have to go. They played slow. They played by the book. They made sure it went through. Now, here's the question. What are the adaptations that Ottawa is going to make into the next game?
We'll find out. But before we go into the Nets, our Nets break to kind of think about that, they want to give a reminder that the MEC finals will be coming on up, so make sure you go ahead and use !Spring Championship to go ahead and lock in your ticket. It's the best place to be able to find all sorts of different things. If you want to ask Drahir about what kind of draft that they just did, you can ask Drahir. They'll be there, I'm sure, right? You're going to be there, right, Coach? You could ask all sorts of different people about their different thoughts. And it's also a great place to actually just see everybody get to communicate with each other. It's a great place to be able to meet up with your friends. Any LAN event is a great place. Even if you're just rocking out with your team that gets together once a month for those Clash games and just like you're sitting inside a tier 3 like waiting to grind out some games. Hey, it's a great time to be able to meet up for a LAN and be able to just enjoy and soak in the venue and the exposure. So yet again, !Spring Championship. Go and check it out, where you'll be able to see the greatest teams inside the MEC competing for their champs at the championship. Go on and compete inside of round of 32 for all of the collegiate teams across the country. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to a short break. When we come on back, we'll be going into game 2 between Grandview and Ottawa Braves. Make sure you do not touch that browser.
So first question, we'll start off. For lands, I mean, not your first land, of course, but what gets you most excited about coming to these events offline?
I just love traveling. I think traveling is a lot of fun. You get to do a lot of stuff. Like, we went out to Dim Sum last night in the city of Chicago. That was pretty sweet as a team. So
Wait, where'd you go?
I don't.
No,
I don't know the
There's
place.
so many good dim sum places.
I don't know the place. Yeah, Ken took us there, and it was really good. So,
Okay.
I mean, doing stuff like that with the team is a really good time. Other than that, obviously playing in person, I prefer compared to playing online. It feels a little more, what's the word? Intimate.
Yeah,
A little more
intimate.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we got you on the dev team, okay, for Riot Games.
Mhm.
Metaphorically.
Sure.
Before you get the axe, you've got 1 day to bring in a new character to League of Legends, whether it's real person, fake, like non-fictional, whatever. What character are you bringing into the roster?
King Julian from Madagascar. It's got to be.
The lemur?
The lemur.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Get
yeah.
Sasha Baron Cohen to do the voice again.
That would be so
Yeah, I got to get that one. I mean, that's what my name's after, so I have to do that one.
Okay, so what's the old? What's the
What's the
defining
olds?
part of the kit?
He sends out Maurice, like Annie, you know? Like, Maurice comes,
Another
messes
summon?
him up. Yep,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. But he has Mort and Maurice, so it's like 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you alternate.
And then after that, I would put the hammer on Hamster Boy and ban him.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Honestly, respect. The final question then is, out of everybody on ONU,
Mhm.
who is most likely to go viral and why? Like, what's showing up on the For You page, and what's
I think it's probably Kato,
yeah.
for making it OnlyFans, probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think
Well,
that's probably
it's
it.
for the brand.
It's got to be.
It's for the brand.
We've talked about it. There have been some talks. Maybe. We'll see.
You got to pay the bill somehow.
Absolutely.
Well, no
This
shame
land's
there.
not paying itself, you know?
Yeah. Appreciate it. Good luck in the games, all right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to the MEC, our final series of the regular season here, as we are getting into this third to fourth place matchup between GVU, Ottawa Braves, GVU, starting things off with a huge, considerable lead for themselves, starting off with game number 1 under the belt with a convincing fashion. Logan, walk me through it. How are you feeling after that performance?
I feel that so far this season that the one of the best things we've seen MEC teams do is draft Nocturne Orianna. It is so simple to execute on. You play Orianna, right? You press E on Nocturne. Nocturne presses R, goes in on literally anyone, and then Orianna presses R. It's a super simple combo to get through. And you just kind of surround it with other damage threats after the fact, and the other tankiness. You can kind of mix and match around. And it just kind of wins. It feels like it's got such a high win rate when we watch it play. And Grandview just picked it instantly. It was their first couple picks, and it just makes the game so much easier that you know that you have this insanely good team fighting tool once you hit level 6 on your jungler and your mid laner. And the second that happened, the game got split wide open. Not to mention the fact that Caitlyn poked out Varus the entire game. You neutralize 2 lanes to start out with so quickly. It's a miracle. Not GV. It's a miracle that Ottawa put up as good of a fight as they did, right? To try and to push it to 30 minutes, to make it so that way. Oh, they took 2 drags. Do you have to spend a little bit longer on taking drag and to take the grubs? It's a miracle that it took as long as it did for Ottawa, right? It felt like it should have been a bigger stomp.
And the big thing is, I'd want to give credit where it's due. It is a lot of Castle having some good pathing, making sure to use the ultimate. As soon as they hit 6, immediately started putting the pressure down into the bot side where it was getting dove constantly. That's where we started to see things get blown open, as you were talking about earlier. Half the deaths inside the game were Ottawa Braves bot lane, and it wasn't because they were playing poorly. It was just the composition was meant to execute them. They did it over and over again. And I want to take a moment to actually just show again what is in place for these teams, what they're competing for here inside this matchup. 3rd and 4th seed, as you can see, are the only seeds that have not been designated. So whoever wins this gets 3rd seed and will go against Briar Cliff on next week's matchup, which will be the 3rd and 6th seed going against each other. While on the other side of things, whoever loses this matchup, it goes against Drury. It's actually kind of interesting because I do think that out of recent opponents, right, Drury actually recently went against Ottawa as well. So if Ottawa drop here, then we actually have a rematch from, I think it was last weekend, which was another really good matchup to watch. So you're putting yourself into some El Clasicos to come about.
Yeah, both of these matchups are good, right? Regardless of which place either of these teams end up, they're both really good games to watch. Realistically, and I'm not saying this to shill for MEC, right? All of our playoff matches are really good matches.
Like, sell out. No, I'm just kidding.
They legitimately are. Like,
yeah. I like a lot of the matchups that are coming across. There's some interesting ideas that come about, right? But you definitely look over at the teams inside of this and the big ones that you're looking at inside the competition. Well, GVU and Ottawa are namesakes inside of the MEC for a reason. So both of these teams, they want to finish as high as they possibly can. They want to go into it and be able to, there's a little bit of pride that's at stake. Usually these teams fight for 1st place, and they're out here fighting for 3rd. It's a new age. I talked about it at the top of the broadcast. ONU and Purdue Northwest, they're the new kids on the block that have taken over 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, they've taken over 1st and 2nd, but nobody feels infallible this season, right? And we see if Grandview keeps pushing like this in the 2nd game, right? You need to say ONU and Purdue Northwest and Grandview, all 3 teams 6-1. We talked about yesterday that Grandview kind of controlled their future on where they went, and there's this insane 3-way tiebreaker to get 1st place. Now we've settled that tiebreaker already with Purdue Northwest beating Ohio Northern. A lot of directions in these names. But because of that, like, Grandview is still fighting, and it's a lot. The top 4 is really close.
Yeah, no, the top 4 is insanely close. It's been a conversation point that we've had throughout all this season. Even over in like the MEC pod, we always go back to, man, top 4 is crazy. So see how Ottawa Braves.
The teams just outside of top 4 are nothing to slouch at. Like,
oh yeah, but
it's a stacked conference this season. We're eating good.
Besides the conference, besides eating good, there's no hunger going around inside for any kind of bangers of any sort. Ottawa Braves, they want to try and make this into one here as they're going into game number 2. Backs against the wall, lose here, and you will drop down. It will be your L that you have to hold until you're able to get against GVU again. Riverside coming in, they want to get in, they want to pop off, they want to find that moment to really get that big carry performance. I actually even see some people in chat that are talking about like, yo, it's okay. Riverside, they're in, they're locked in, they're ready to go. Riverside, honestly, out of everybody inside of it, Riverside and Prod were like the 2 people that were really, really solid and consistent inside that last one. And you can even see Ottawa Braves, they've dropped their ego a little bit and they said, all right, strip Prod.
Banning the Nocturne.
Not even that, the Varus as well. I'm still confused on why you banned 3 tanks from Strip Proctor and then picked the tank into it. That made no sense to me.
Yeah, that just felt like you weren't using your matchup to the best degree possible, but it doesn't matter. They've taken away the Nocturne. It's the reason Grandview won the last game. Not Nocturne only, but Nocturne, Caitlyn, Oriana, right? And the second you ban out the Nocturne, the Oriana just isn't as good as before. The Varus, like a 1,000,000% pick ban rate across the season. Ezreal ban? You seem to be a little confused. I also am a little confused.
don't think Nightstars had a game of Ezreal inside the MEC regular season, so it's an interesting one at the final hour. I guess they want to make sure that there's nothing that they can run away from. Ottawa does have first pick, so they grab themselves the Volibear. But on the opposite side, Udyr was a pick that has been banned against Strict Proctor and taken away from him for the past couple days. So they immediately grabbed this, and this is one of their best champions that they've been performing on time and time again in the MEC.
Udyr is really good in the top lane because of its ability to push, and Strict Proctor did a really good job on the Cassante pushing against the other tank class game. Now Killing's going to go for that drain tank build, but yeah, he's kind of Udyr's kind of a drain tank on his own. Jinkwall pulling out the Hui. If you weren't with us last night, game 2 last night, Jinkwall pulled out the Hui and went like 13-0-7 at the end of the game or something ridiculous. Maybe he had died once right outside of the Nexus, but him and Castle played a Viego. It was lights out. Their second game was so different.
Curious. Seeing the Xayah immediately locked in is a curious one. I feel like it does kind of say you want to go ahead and lock in your lovers duo at this moment in time, just that way you can go ahead and get the power that comes with those two together. They come together as a package for Ottawa Braves. A little bit more playmaking and not as much squishiness. A little bit more safer maneuverability for the spot lane.
Yeah, it means that they have... Rakan gives them another go button. Not, in a very different way than Ashe gave them a go button. They get to start some more fights in a better way this time, and you don't have to rely on the Lee Sin or the Akali or something like that. And this is just running back yesterday's draft, man.
Yeah, no, Castle had an insane game. You were talking about the 13-1-16 performance that came out from Hue. Castle also had like a very similar performance. I think they were also at like 13 kills and like 1 death and like a numerous amount of assists. But I think between the two of them, they had like over 30 kills between the two of them on Hue and Viego. So this is a very disgusting reminiscent thing for them. They're feeling themselves at the moment.
It's a little disgusting right now. It's a smidge disgusting.
Depends on who you are.
I mean, I
like Kog'Maw.
I do like
Smolder's
Kog'Maw,
the answer.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Smolder
It's
seems
the,
reasonable.
It's the one that people tend to find a little bit cuter than Kog'Maw for late game carries. So I get it. But on the opposite side, I like the answer. That's the reply that comes in. I like the Vi. You see that, you look over onto the other side, you see the Smolder. You want to get somebody on there. Also the Hue as well. Vi's one of the best junglers for actually just ganking mid lane, just because they have that nice gap closer to be able to close in and really burst in. And together with this Taliyah, we saw Taliyah be the bane of GVU actually in yesterday's series. See if Riverside will be able to have the same impact that Camera did against them.
Yeah, they left support counter pick to the very last one, and it looks like it's going to be Rel again. We had talked about it was banned all last night. I have a feeling that they were trying to flex this Hue into the support lane to see what they needed in the mid lane to give Jinkwall counter pick, but it turns out that Jinkwall wants to play the Hue into the Taliyah. I think it feels really good. He played it last night really well.
Ottawa, I got a real quick. Yet again, Ottawa Braves, they have their strategy in pick ban looks like it has been bully one person's champion pool. In the last game, they banned all the top laners that they possibly could, forcing Strict Proctor onto the Cassante, and they were just like, thank you for that. This time, it's 4 AD carry bans at Nightstar, and he just gets Smolder.
Yeah, the insane thing is like, if you took the bans away, this could easily be the comp for both teams if there was no pick ban. If there was no bans in pick ban, right? If you just picked 5 champs, if this was just draft with no bans, like, this could have easily been both teams' wanted composition, other than the Rumble.
Yeah, they've had some great stuff. Yeah, besides the Rumble, of course. If the Rumble wasn't there, you would probably see that. Also, Riverside, it's Azir is another one, right? Is another one that was there. But yeah, I look over at this draft and I look over at what both sides are wanting to accomplish, and big thing for me, I like the go button that they have. They've got a big meaty front line in the Volibear, right? It's very hard to actually take out the Volibear. My concern is, right, like the team fights, in theory, they look pretty good. You have some good ways to get some catches going out. What are you doing inside these lanes, right? Hue is going to be a very troublesome prospect for the Taliyah to have to deal with, because Hue just shoves like nobody else. Castle and Viego has been an absolute menace.
Yeah.
And GVU has shown that they're very comfortable playing this very skirmish style where they're just kind of picking fights, they get huge leads, and then they just win by the overrun. They just throw their pocket money at you, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I can't deal with this.
So Jinqual played this way last night into Kammer's Twisted Fate, which is a famously good match, like pairing for Kammer. This Twisted Fate is one of his best champions in the MEC. And I have a feeling that it's going to kind of do the same thing to this Taliyah that it did to the Twisted Fate last night. They're kind of both low movement characters to start, especially if Taliyah is not right next to a wall. So I expect Jinqual to get a lot of poking through and kind of see if he can poke out Riversided to start. There's a spell book for Riversided.
By the way, I just real quick want to bring this up. I went over and checked out Gamba, and when I went over and checked into it, 98% to 2% for Ottawa Brave. That
Like in
is
favor of Ottawa Braves?
no, like in favor of Grandview. No, there's 2% of people that are in favor of Ottawa Braves. There's nobody else. There's 98% of chat is all in the pockets of Grandview right now. So you can see that Grandview is feeling very, very much so convinced that Grandview fans feel pretty good about throwing the channel points on into the bundle here. And if you watched yesterday's game, so you got to see how they have performed on said champions. You know that these are champions that not only are they comfortable on, but they are absolute dominant in.
Yeah, they're really good in, right? Like this may be the best comp that they've had tonight, and that's saying a lot because the last comp was really good comp.
I mean, if you remove the name tags, maybe not. But
Yeah, this is a name tag thing. This is absolutely a name tag thing.
Oh man. But I Ottawa Braves, they'll go on through. They'll be able to possibly get some pressure. I really like the Zaya Rakan as an answer. I did touch on that a little bit here. The bot lane needs something that gives them a little bit more of a way to stay safer inside this bot lane too, and it gives them some aggression in the same way. They need to punish a Smolder. Remember, Smolder is fairly weak in the early parts of the game. You want to beat them up before they're able to start getting some of those stacks going. They are this very aggravating caster. Nightstar, if I remember right, they prefer the Essence Reaver build where they go Essence Reaver into more attacks. They go more with that attack damage. So
it's a good thing he prefers that. It's a lot better now.
I do wonder. So why does Levi has cleanse inside this matchup? It's not why.
Yeah.
But they have the cleanse, so you can actually feel. I do wonder if Levi is feeling a little bit of that pressure. As you can see, they got the level 2 advantage. This is textbook for Zaya Rakan. You get level 2 first, you immediately bully. Pluto forced to flash out.
Yeah, there's something you get level 2 on Zaya Rakan, right? You take the Q first on Zaya, so that way you can start using the feathers, and you take the E to make sure you can pull them back. And once you've done that, then that's kind of the lane, at least for a bit. Church Proctor is getting so many grass.
Wow. It's not grass prods. He's just beating a bear with his bare hands.
He is just beating the bear, but it's going to help late game as Church Proctor continues to get more tanky because of them.
That is pretty disgusting. By the way, both top laners opting for Ghost Teleport inside the matchup, so no flashes to be upheld. Keep our eyes peeled for that. Both of these junglers, I mean, these top laners, they're looking to just run in. It's weird. It's an era where there's Volibear versus Udyr top lane, and my mind immediately is like old man brain, unga bunga. It's just junglers over there in the top side, but no, they are top laners. They're standing proud.
Yeah, they're just slapping each other. That's all this lane is, and the slapping each other thing comes from Udyr because he literally slaps you. That's what Udyr he is. It's excellent. Castle's looking to be proactive early, and Killian is not in the best of positions to be able to defend against this bear slap coming through.
Yep, had no vision. They had a ward in the pocket, but they did not use it. Castle will take full advantage of that mistake. Good gank coming in from Castle.
You just want to make sure that Castle gets going a little early, and there's a lot of champions on the other side that Castle's great with. Like, let's start there. Excellent on Vi. I believe he's played Taliyah this season too. I could be wrong on that, but I've seen the Taliyah in solo queue from Castle, and it's good. So, Volibear, most junglers know how to play Volibear. So there's a lot of good people's souls for Castle to steal here. Riverside's looking for rotation, and so is Prod.
Yeah,
Will dive early.
Prod gets stuffed on the stun, not going to be able to find it. Good use of the seismic shove, gets him with the warped earth, and they're just trying to finish off that one last kill. It's a double to go over, but Smolder got to trade onto the Zaya. Very unlucky for Levi. They burned the flash as well, as Killian continues to trade back with them, but look at that. They just get that enhanced turtle stance, and all of a sudden they're just like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to heal back up. I got that shield to make sure I can trade back with you, Volley.
Udyr, man. Just Udyr. So I think that's all I need to say about this top lane matchup. It's going to be infuriating for anyone that plays. Right now, like, the best Udyr counter is Darius, and it's not even that good of a counter. It's just he deals a lot of damage. So anything in this is brutal to play against him. Killian's trying to kill him here.
He wants it, yeah. Both of them are looking for the play. Remember, their ghost timers are on the same, by the way, so you're probably going to see a lot of that. And I do like the idea to be a bit more aggressive here because you do have these shields to be able to apply and work with. But also you want to be aggressive because you don't want Proctor to actually roam down into the river, spot out Vi, and just harass Vi off of the grubs of any type. So you want to make sure that you're constantly in control by being the aggressor, being the one that's deciding when the go button is. The fact that the recall had to happen here, and you see that Proctor actually had to run all the way back to their tier 2 instead of their tier 1 is pretty big, because that just means that they're going to be able to get so much. They should be able to get 2 plates off of this.
Yeah, it's really scary when you're trying to back near Volibear because he does have that static shiv basically as a passive. So, a little trading here. I do like the Oblivion Orb early from Proctor. It gives him a little AP, gives him a little bit more wave clear, and does help with the heal that Volibear gets from his W.
Yep. It's the grievous wounds. We were actually I was talking to some of my my co-hosts from the MEC pod, right? Some of the other casters that work onto it, Mac and Shibby. They had brought in some points. They were reviewing actually yesterday's game, and they saw the Volibear game. They were just like, where's the grievous wounds at? Well, Proctor knows where they're at. Has them inside the inventory. He said, you know what, Volibear, you're not going to be able to play that drain tank. Well, you will, but you're still going to have a little bit less success on that. Plus,
Okay, plus
going in a little bit hard, face planting against the wall, that was a bit uncoordinated.
Well, I think the timing was just off a little bit, right? Riverside was roaming down, wanted to see if they could get something going. Plux went in for the flash, but Nightstar and Pluto were walking away, so Plux had to kind of engage that a little early.
Just disengaged now. Vi gets to get a little bit of counter jungling in. There's no neutral objectives up at the current moment in time, so Prod is just trying to take advantage to get as proactive as possible. Remember, they have 2 kills, and you got a kill that has been traded over to Castle as well. So these junglers, they're feeling pretty good. They got the gold inside their pocket to make sure that they are able to accelerate their purchases, which means traditionally they should be able to accelerate the pace of the game pretty nicely. And check this out, really nice from Prod, just sitting in the bush ready to pet the dragon and make him let him know that the presence has been known. But Viego was in the area looking to break some hearts of their own. Riverside here as well, but the push will just continue. Ottawa Brave is doing a good job getting these waves shoved in and getting these plates early on.
Not just getting the plates early on, but making sure that they neutralize a lot of these lanes that were really difficult for them last time. They've started to neutralize the bot lane, where this Caitlyn last game was really, really hard to play against. And Killian this game is trying to make sure that the Udyr doesn't become a problem the same way Cassante was a problem last game.
Diego did back and go back up towards the top side. Wants to go back onto the red buff, start up the trap. Prod is sitting inside the alcove in the bot lane. So was looking for another gank here. Has stopped their back 3 times now. Prod keeps seeing a moment right before their back finishes. Like,
4 times.
Oh, yeah, you can see it. They're going in for it actually down into the bot side. They went in for the play, but over into the top lane, you have the Castle coming in, looking to jump in, but Killian will go down. They will get dunked into the earth, and no kill occurred. In the bot lane, no summoners blown either. So they were not able to get anything as a trade on the opposite side.
Yeah, and that just means that Castle on his back will be... either will have or will be really close to the Blade of the Ruined King or the Kraken Slayer start, which is what he's going for.
Quickening goes in. Both supports have ulted to try and push them away, but Levi having to feel the Dragon's barrage here. Nightstar gets the kill onto Levi. Beautiful engage coming in from Pluto.
Not only that, but Riverside had burnt a TP to get down there to the bot side to try and help out his laners. Now, he does have Spellbook, so it's not as bad as it normally would be, but Jing Qual goes and just grabs a tower play. So across the map, Grandview is taking wins from that. Rod had already grabbed the first 3 grubs, but...
Yeah, they're going to force him off of this. This is not a good place to be at. Prod goes down, and Jing Qual gets another kill this way. It's gotten their first kill of the game, and now it's going to be the 3 grubs being grabbed and claimed by Castle.
Not just being claimed, it'll help them push forward a lot more. Is that every time Riverside does one of these plays where he roams?
Oh, hold on. Riverside caught out of position, has to dip on out of there. Pluto came in nicely timed roam. You see Plutz over here into the side trying to assist Riverside as we go back over to the top lane, back to the mid lane. You see that seismic shove bringing in the damage into this way. Riverside wanting to get back onto the map and get something going, but Prod was able to get back over here. I believe there's 2 grubs that were left there for them, so they'll still be able to get, I believe, 5 grubs for themselves.
5 grubs means that they get one of the Void Mites. It's the important bit of having grubs this game, is just making sure you have a little extra help when you're taking the towers. It is a big break point between the 4 and 5 grubs that will be taken now by Prod.
Why do you say Void Mites like that?
Void Mites.
You went, no, you changed the way you said. You went, ooh, Void Mites. Like you.
Void. God, the Void Mites.
Oh,
Weird
man.
things, man. I don't know. The Void. Scary
you
thing.
went from normal caster voice to ASMR, and I didn't know how to feel about it. But we're going to have to go back down to the bot lane where we have the Weaver's Wall coming in. Nightstar, you're flying into a world of pain here, buddy. Mom gets called in, but the Hot Pockets were still too hot, and they're going to find themselves getting burned because of it. Castle now going to be engaged upon the grand entrance by Plutz. They're offer their life as tribute, but it's all worth it. Shutdown has occurred, and that's going into the pocket of Levi, who's going to happily take that additional 150 gold bounty.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be really happy with that, but it looks like Killian is close to dying here. May actually end up going down.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's always for a tower plate. It's always for a tower plate.
That's a good point. I should have looked at the lane.
Yeah, it's what you're doing here. They're winning in the tower plate war, but unfortunately on the KDA war, they are falling short as Linnea Proctor has been a solid rock inside the top lane throughout the entire season for Grandview. A lot of people had questions with Frank leaving. How did this change up this team? They changed the way they play a little bit, right? But Proctor has came in and been a solid, consistent force that has always been there for GVU.
As much as GVU is ahead in the kill game, objective-wise, it's pretty even on Dragons and just super Ottawa favored otherwise. But it's just a 1k gold lead for Grandview. This is nowhere as close to the big gold lead we had seen last game, right? Way more even of an early game across the board.
Yeah, there's no ballooning happening at the current moment in time. Both sides are looking for that moment. We can say that Grandview's is a little bit later on, all right? Like, the Smolder, of course, needs to get to that later position. So I feel like if you're Ottawa Braves, you still want to try and accelerate the pace of things a little bit. But it is weird to ask that when you do have, like, champions like Volibear, who's a great champion, but needs to have those items to really facilitate how strong they can possibly be. As Gillian might be dying to try and get a plate again. Thankfully, this time they have a little bit more HP in the tank to be able to tango with this Udyr, but still a little bit of risky business.
At this point, it feels like a typical Killian thing.
Oh. That on that third feather. Almost got the root onto Nightstar, but got a good amount of damage onto the trade. Levi's starting to feel themselves a little bit more. I feel like they've recovered from that game one, which they got completely shut out.
Yeah, it does feel like the Zaya seems to be a better champ right now, but Pluto's trying to get something going. And
Yeah,
the
no,
other thing
here
is that
comes Bloods. They're going in. Check it out, Prod coming in for the gank. Mom, immediately, the hustle is there. The Featherstorm's there. They wait to pull in the feathers to try and see if they can catch Nightstar onto the flank. The Weaver's Wall comes through, and now it's Riverside looking to make their montage moment happen as Nightstar getting chunked down, trying to defend this tower a little bit more against all odds. Viego's down into the top side of the map, just getting Rift Herald while this all happening, but 1-for-1 trade support for jungler.
Support for jungler, but look how low this mid tower is, right? They give up so much to try and protect this bot lane.
Riverside. That's a flash over the wall. Saracen Praise gives them the shield to make it look like they don't take that much damage, but that is a terrifying situation to be inside of. Now Prod coming in, beautiful fear, flick them with some ink into the eyes, and they're not going to appreciate any of that. Let's flip it back over to the mid lane, please. As you can see, Pluto going in for the fight that's coming on in. They're laying in some hurt, but the rocks flowing in. Killian taking that trade, but go back into the mid lane, and you can see Jinqual running, trying to kite this out for their life, and it is Castle who is the hero to come and save the day. And there you go. Jinqual gets out alive. Castle with a double kill. Things couldn't have worked out better for Grandview.
Yeah, so even though one player goes down on that dive for Grandview, they turn that one player going down into just really good use across the rest of the map. They get good plays everywhere, right?
Oh no.
They're pushing.
Oh no.
Oh no, this
Levi checks the bush.
Dead bird alert.
Yeah, there's a miss that's there. They didn't see it coming into town, but poor Levi just started filling themselves, and guess who else just started filling themselves? Castle. 5-1-2 on this Viego.
It's looking like deja vu from last night, man. This mid-jungle duo last night was incredible on these two champs, and we're seeing them run it back in the second game again tonight, and they're doing just as well.
Castle diff, man. Castle is just all over the place at this current moment in time, exactly where Prod doesn't want him to be at. And check this out, Prod's trying to get a little bit of some counter jungling happening, immediately dropped into the clutches. They go in with the cease and desist, trying to get a little bit of assault and battery going, but goes gold, and Jinqual is going to be able to stay alive for a little bit longer. Shutdown goes over to Prod. They're staying healthy inside the fight. Castle and Smolder are not here just yet. Prod jumping over the wall, finds safety in such. And Castle, a large person inside this team, right? They have so much gold for the team. Mom got called in, looking to try and fish out a kill onto Prod, but wasn't able to find it.
It was a little far away at that point, but this Riptile is going to be brutal now. It's going to push right into the tower, and they may just take the whole tower off of this.
Yeah, the grubs come in. It will allow them to get a little bit of free time to work onto it. A little bit of a snot rocket blown. And Riverside doesn't have anything to do against this dragon besides just accept that the that will fall, that turret will fall.
Quay actually TP top lane, bottom lane to try and take out Levi, and they're looking at a little bit of scuffle there as Levi took the bottom tower, but probably going to go down for his sins.
Oh yeah, he's
now.
absolutely going down. And this is a beautiful teleport too, because now Levi's down, and guess what? Dragon just spawned, which is where they're able to be at. And that works out beautifully. Now Prod going back over to the top side, Lenient Proctor, aka Strip Proctor, is going to be in a troublesome spot. They had the dancing shoes on. They saved around so much. They were able to dance around the fight, but Prod finding the kill. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Trade 1-for-1. You had to get what you can if you're Ottawa Braves at this moment in time. They're getting some towers, keeping the gold in that 3K range.
Yeah, it's a 3K gold lead for Grandview, but it feels like so much more right now, right? The way that Castle and Jinqual have been playing all game has just made it feel like it's a more accelerated game for Grandview than it is for Ottawa Braves. You can see it's almost a 2,000 gold lead in the jungle and a 1,000 gold lead in the mid lane, and that's the whole lead right there.
It is all inside of that jungle, that mid lane, right? That's where you're seeing all that gold sitting at in favor of Grandview. And it is just from that farm, the way that this way has been able to power up throughout this game, get 2 kills to the name as well. And this Viego, who has been absolutely a force to be reckoned with onto the map. Not going to be soul point, though, for Grandview. Something to take note of, since one dragon was peeled off earlier on by Ottawa Brave. So they do have a bit of time bought inside the game, and either team has really found that definitive, hey, we're going to take the lead moment here. Castle having all that gold. If they go down, that's a 300G bounty that's sitting on the name as well. Get that onto a Zaya, and you're feeling good.
Not even feeling good, but Plux is almost caught out there. They do actually try and go a little bit deeper in here. Ludo uses his go in button.
That's
literally a button for going in. Awesome.
That's great.
One of my favorite things.
Doesn't have to watch out for that, but needs to watch out for that. Bro, you just face checked that bush. Go back in. They're still there. Surprise. Riverside going to run away, but guess what? The Heart Seeker hits, and it's Castle getting the execute. Is on a rampage now. Prod tries to punch out of this situation, but they are going to end up going down. A double kill for Castle, and right in front of the Baron that spawns in 5 seconds. That's a disaster scenario.
Yeah, and there's only 3 players up. Plux is just coming up, and now Killian is being they're having their little fight there in the bottom lane with Strict Proctor, and Levi can't do anything about anything on the Baron. So looks like Grandview will get a free Baron to start, and Killian just keeps going lower and lower. Levi trying to look for his position in.
Levi trying to find their moment to get something. They know they can't contest this Baron at this current moment in time. Killian dropped down so low. Killian, what do you gotta stop. I know you're playing Drain Tank, but like, all you have is your Undying Wish. You need to chill it on out.
It looks like Grandview has successfully gotten away with the Baron take. Looks like Sherprod, he's just going to keep pushing this wave out, right? It's brutal to play against an Udyr in a side lane, right? He is unkillable. We saw him in that 1v3. He took so many resources, took so long to take him down.
Man, oh man, it's yet again, now we're feeling like it is Grandview favored. I was talking about it earlier. Neither team had found that moment to really have that definitive, like, all right, yeah, we're ahead, and now we're taking complete control of this matchup. 20 minutes, apparently, is the Grandview timer, right? They are able to get a nice fight over at the Baron Pit right before it spawns, get 3 quick kills, force Braves into a terrible situation. And now, with Baron buff there, that should be enough to be able to assist them on continuing to push some of this aggression forward. They should be able to get some of these towers. You can already see the Udyr up in the top lane, pushing things in, getting that minion wave crashing on through, and you can see they want to force a fight here. Castle, the intended target, they find him, they go down. That's a big 500G bounty going over to Levi. Grandview making an error in that moment, getting a little bit too overzealous. They're going to continue the fight on forward. They want to get the kill onto Nightstar next up. They do not have the Assault of Battery, but they have that Weaver's Wall. The Madness Storm has been used to try and keep them in place. Check out Nightstar inside the fight. They're waiting for that Worked Earth to go away. The Volibear going in a little bit too deep, but now it is GVU who are saying there's no way that you're going to be able to pull this off inside the fight. The double kill going over to Jinqual. They're going to be continuing to lay in those shots, popping them in over and over and over and over and over again. They're trying to get them. Levi goes down as Jinqual goes unstoppable. Nightstar still untouched. A double kill for Jinqual. But King, it's going to find himself in a bad way. Nightstar gets the ace.
Yeah, huge thing for Nightstar to level up to the 225 stacks in the middle of that fight. Right, it's the only way he takes Killian down, and we can see that regardless of the 6,000 gold lead Grandview has right now, regardless of the 9 kill advantage Grandview has right now, every single fight is tough.
I don't know what you can say about this. You can see it here, Nightstar. They got that computer and data science thing inside their mage. They crunched the numbers. They played that team fight immaculately. And remember, they started out that fight where they're showing the camera right now, inside of that chicken pit. Castle got left down at a sacrifice. They continued to chase him all the way. This is one of those moments where I wish I had like the little paintbrush tool to show you. They chased him all the way from those chickens all the way over to Redside's inner tower in the bot lane. That is insane that Nightstar was able to kite things out, keep themselves safe, and be that last member standing for the team. And now, with the amount of stacks that they're sitting at, right? They're getting those executes, they're getting that huge amount of damage off inside these fights. Bro, Nightstar is a menace that they have to figure out a way to deal with. Killian is just an HP bar, a bullet sponge for them inside the raid, for them to be able to take out. Look at how they're shredding through the HP bar. You can't be a drain tank if you're just getting drained yourself. Nightstar gets another kill, goes on to a killing spree. Levi onto the side is completely virtually untouched, has that Featherstorm available for themselves as they pull in the feathers. Double kill goes over to Nightstar, still remaining untouched. The triple, the ace, grand view on top. They're going to be able to push this one on in. This could possibly be them just getting this mid inhibitor. They've got a minion wave, actually. They could possibly look to end.
I don't think it's going to be an end, but I think it'll be close.
Oh, no, never mind. Castle was taking tower. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know why Castle stood around that long to take tower. I assume it's because they wanted the minion wave in here to try and end the game. But Volibear's up in 5 seconds, or Khan's up in 4.
Yeah.
They're just going to take the mid inhib and walk away, and it's fine. At the end of the day, Castle doesn't lose anything for dying there. Just gets to go back and complete hysterics, and it's a little rougher for his stats, but no money gets exchanged over to the Ottawa Braves. So they tried something, didn't totally work out, but there wasn't a huge amount of downside for it.
Yeah, no, I get the idea. Like you said, they were wanting it. But now with mid inhibitor, the groundwork has been laid out. 10k lead almost in favor of Grandview as we get into the 25 minutes mark. It's kind of crazy to think about. There was literally just like a 2k lead about 5 minutes ago, and now they have ballooned this immediately.
Yeah, we went from a 2k lead to a 6k lead, and that 6k lead was still not that big of a lead, right? And then it was a 10k lead, and now it feels really hard to play this game if you're the Ottawa Braves.
Levi went through that entire fight without getting touched. And check this out, Plutz. That bush is cursed for you, my friend. Stop going there. That bush does not belong to you. Yet again, Plutz, that bush is cursed. You don't want to go there. Mom gets called through. Is going to be able to lay a little bit of hurt on the prod on the way out. Good assist to come through. But it's just going to be the pressure continuously being applied inside of this match. Proctor now inside the bot lane. Just going to continue pushing out this bot tower. Baron spawns up in 20 seconds. GVU has their eyes set on the prize. Proctor's the one that's going to get chased down. And unfortunately for you, they just bore stance. They're CC immune. You're not going to be able to stop them. Proctor just drew 3 in as the Baron spawns.
Not just 3 in, but 3 ultimates, right? You use the Cease and Desist on Prod. You use the Volibear smash into the ground. And you use the wall for Riverside. Now you don't have any of those tools when you go into this Baron fight. Like now, and you can't really contest the Baron at all. Even if Proctor had died, you still can't really contest the Baron.
Oh yeah, no, there's no way for you to be able to contest this at this state of the game. Prod's looking for a steal. Oh no, that was a heartbreaker moment. Got game up a little bit short. Plutz now has to retreat with Riverside. Zaya is nowhere to be seen at this moment. Plutz is trying to separate so that way Riverside can get out alive, but they will just divide and conquer. Nightstar is dominating. Plutz trying to run away as you got this way. Who's firing off these artillery shots? Killian isn't going to be able to drain tank through the pain here as he can try to run away. They're hopping away. Proctor eventually chases him out. Killian will be able to reset,
doesn't matter.
Get back into the base, but it's not going to matter. There's 4 members here. It's a 4v4. The teleport from Proctor. They're still full HP. They're still full on their kit. Killian getting their health regen. This is going to be the game. This is going to be the end. They're going to try and jump in, bounce around inside of the fight. It's your last chance for Ottawa Braves to fight back, but it's an easy, consistent kill over. You lose straight Proctor, but hey, okay, it's a tribute you had to make as you go ahead and pick up the dub. GVU, another triple kill, another definitive win. GVU, they remain on top. They will take the 3rd seed and be facing BCU in later playoff matches.
Yeah, the 3rd seed is huge, right? We had talked about that both teams that they could play against were pretty tough teams, right? And it could really go either way. But they get to replay against Briarcliff, if I'm not mistaken. And, well, their first game against Briarcliff was really even last night. But their second 2 games felt a lot less even. I think we'll go with that. So I think GVU is pretty happy that they were able to close out and get the 3rd seed there.
Yeah, and it's, you know what? Good stuff to GVU. Very clean 2 games for themselves. They played through their win conditions. They did exactly as needed to happen. They made the Netsisco boom. And that's what really matters. And, you know what, Ottawa Braves, they tried to do something a little bit different. They brought in Riverside to see what they could do into Jinqual. Had a good game on the Kali, but game number 2, the Talia, they tried to make stuff happen. Couldn't really find their moment. GVU as a team, like all 5 members, when they're able to operate at full capacity like this, we got to see they play GVU style, which is they kind of formulate this team composition where you get into the mid game, that's dangerous waters. You don't want to be there against GVU.
Agreed. We're going to go to a quick break in a second for an interview with someone from the winning side from Grandview. But before we do, have you ever wondered what goes into running an esports event like MEC Clash or the championship that Trav talked about earlier? One of the most important things you can do is set the scope of your event. How many people are going to be there? How much money are you spending on the event? How much is the prize pool? All that kind of stuff to help you balance your profit with your expectations. If you want to learn more about the scope of esports and just about anything else within esports, you can do !top 5 in the chat and you can check out the article, What It Takes, Top 5 Things Powering Esports Event. We'll be right back after a quick break with an interview from Grandview.
Hello, welcome back over to the MEC. We're ready here with GVU, the winning team from this series. Pluto, I came into this like, yo, this is the battle, the El Clasico, like the close battle. Bro, you guys made it not look close. What's going on? Your rail is way too clean, brother.
I mean, going into this series, like I haven't watched much of like Ottawa. I haven't watched much of other teams. And like going into the series, I thought it was gonna be against Blonde, so I was like, "Oh, this is about to be a free win, free 2-0." But then I saw it was like River, so I thought it would be a little harder. But I mean, we watched the games; wasn't too hard.
All right.
Hey, okay.
So we watched your game last night, as I'm sure you're aware, and you played 3 games of Recon in a row. You got Rel banned against you every single game. So tonight you had the Rel open for both games. How did it feel to actually get to play the Rel tonight, not just be target banned all of like you did yesterday?
I mean, it felt good. It's one of my more comfortable champions. Even though I played Recon 3 games last night, like the first game I was like low key trying to end World Hunger a bit. That's why I kind of dropped that one. But you know, got R5 both games today. Felt pretty good. Performed.
I was going to ask you about that, but you know what? You already gave me the perfect statement.
Yep.
Thank you for acknowledging that. But, yo, inside of it now, you guys, it's a new era for you guys. And I want to ask you, right, GVU, you guys are used to being the team that's on top inside the MEC. Has there been anything that's kind of shifted for you guys inside this season that's made you guys kind of more so, or you just think it's just the competition's just leveled up to that degree that you guys have to kind of buckle down a bit more on those?
Yeah, I mean, this split, like, MEC is definitely probably harder than it's ever been. Despite that, like, going into the split, I thought, like, PNW and Ottawa would be our hardest matches, probably, just from, like, the players on each team. But that didn't seem to be the case, you know? We dropped 0-2 to ONU. That was really, like, a genuine wake-up call. It kind of just bested us both games in a row. So it kind of made us get our stuff together, and in the matches since, we've performed.
So last night we talked to Castle, and we asked Castle how he felt about this game today, and all he had was positive things to say. Now we know your matchup that you guys will be playing in the first round of the playoffs. You're going to play Briarcliff again, just as you did last night. Do you have anything you want to say to Briarcliff ahead of this match?
I think I've tried to end world hunger enough, you know? Might just have to take it 2-0.
You're not gonna have a 13 death Rakan
No,
game.
I don't think I'll have 13 deaths again.
You know what? I appreciate that. Before I let you go and before we let you have your shout out, I want to ask you real quick. I've been playing the newest like Final Fantasy game, and it's kind of had me thinking. You guys have any like fanfare you guys like to do? You know, after a fight, they play the music, they have their moment to celebrate. What's GVU doing to celebrate after this dub?
Well, 2 of us are actually going to play the OQ match, not me, but our AD and jungle. So if we didn't 2-0 this match, you know, they would have had to have subs. But luckily, they get to play their match now, so that's the celebration.
Shoutouts to NACO qualifiers and
Yeah.
CLOL for having the same schedule.
Yeah.
Are the three of you not in the match, watching the match at least?
Oh yeah, I mean
Okay.
we'll sit there and probably watch it on second monitors and stuff while we queue solo queue or whatever.
Yeah, flame your teammates a little bit, talking shit,
Yeah.
chat, you know, just be like, man, this guy doesn't know how to play their character, man. All right, well, it's been a pleasure, Pluto. You have any shout outs that you would like to give to anybody who's been watching or cheering you guys on?
I mean, just the team, you know, after ONU, it was kind of rough to lose that series, to be honest, but since then we've been stepping up and performing. So yeah, just everyone on the team, the fans, thank you so much.
Hey, every now and then, a team needs a wake-up slap. We'll be looking forward to seeing how you guys do inside of playoffs and see how GVU performs. So for that being said, you take care and have a great night and have a great time flaming your teammates when they're not on your team.
Thank you.
I think that's the teammate with the hand finger quotes. That
No,
point.
You're that's 100% a good League of Legends teammate, right?
Yeah.
You're not a real League of Legends teammate if you don't flame your
flame,
homies
yeah.
outside of games that you're in, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're in my game, we're cool, we're vibing, we're having a great time. I'm watching you like solo queue or play your competitive match without me. How dare you? How dare you
Nah,
not have me on your
instant
team?
flame.
Dude, you suck. You're the worst player I know. But hey, that's it for us on the night.
That's just for us for like a month.
It's us for a month. We won't be back until we get into MEC finals. Instead,
Yeah.
it will be Shibby and Mac will be walking you through as playoffs will be on Fridays and Mondays. Won't be having any games on Saturdays or Sundays unless something were to change going forward until we get into the MEC finals. So you guys won't see us unless something changes and for some reason we show up on it. But yeah, that's it for us. Yo, appreciate you all for coming on out. Appreciate the support that you guys have shown throughout it. Appreciate
Tune in
Pluto
tomorrow.
for trying to end world hunger.
Yeah. Tune in tomorrow. There's 4 games are going on tomorrow, and 2 of them will be on stream. So Mac and Chibi have a good start to the playoffs already. So
yeah,
get excited for tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow it's playoffs start on up. We'll be over here same time as we normally do when we start. That is going to be 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time is when you'll be able to see the game start on over. There will be 2 series that will be shown right here inside the channel, so make sure you tune in for that. And like I said, every Friday, Monday, you're going to have those playoff series going on until we get over into the MEC Finals, in which you can still get your tickets by doing !Spring Championship. If you want to go there and attend, make sure you have your spot ready to go. That being said, we're going to go ahead and send it for tonight. It's been a pleasure. Make sure you take care of yourselves, and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your night.